Okay, hello. This is Japan Retro Direct, and today I'd just like to talk to you a little bit about some stuff that's coming up soon, some things that I'm going to list, and talk you through a little bit of the process. So, in this box here are a bunch of games that I've tested. And you see, the first thing I do when I get a game is I open it up. Used games. I test to see if it works, and then I am going to take photographs of it because I don't use any stock photos. So every picture that you see on the site is of the actual game. And then I just play the game, not a ton. I play it enough to make sure that the game boots up, that it loads fine. If it's a disk system game, I try to see if it can do a save. And then I wrap it up. If it's a Laserdisc, I don't usually watch the whole thing, especially if I've already watched the movie, but I just want to make sure it plays. It doesn't seem to have any noticeable skips. The same with, and for the games, I play them, if I haven't played them before, I play them enough so that I know kind of what type of game it is so I can write my description. And also, I'm checking to see if I think it's a game that people who don't speak any Japanese, don't read any Japanese could play. Anyway, let me just show you some of the stuff that's coming up. I'm pleased that I'm going to add some laser discs again. This is Twin Bee Paradise. They made an OAV episode. This is really a nice find because it's still got the little mini poster inside. If you like anime and Twin Bee, that one's pretty cool. I just finished looking at that. For J-Rock fans, this is X-Japan discs. These are a little bit rare these days because, well, X-Japan's been broken up for a long time, but it still has a lot of fans. It's in pretty good condition. There's a little bit of, can you see that? There's a little bit of warping on the side, but it's still in really good condition, and some pretty good X-Japan songs if you like that kind of stuff. I'm getting rid of some of my amiibos just because I don't have the space anymore, especially to keep them boxed. During the whole amiibo boom, I bought a bunch of them. These are when Smash Brothers. So I've got a Fox. I've got what's this guy? Lizardon and Captain Falcon. A few of the rarer ones. This is the Wii Fit Trainer. I think this one was rare in the United States, but this is a Murabito, like the village person. Pudding, which is Jigglypuff? Is that? I do not know Pokemon very well. Just a minute. Let me put those back, and then we'll get to some other stuff. I'm going to start stocking some Neo Geo games. I've got a few loose carts. I've got this is a Fatal Fury Special, and I do actually have the manual for that one too, right here. But so if anybody needs the cart's in very good condition. It just doesn't have the box. Same with this King of Fighters 94. Great game. Loved that when it came out. I'm going to start listing MSX actually. So I'm just starting with just making a category. So I've got the HAL's Hole-in-One golf game, which is pretty cool because HAL, of course, is known for like the Kirby series and stuff like that. And now they pretty much just make things for Nintendo, but back then they used to make things for all kinds of stuff. I love MSX cartridges, how they have that little hole right there. Just love them. I test that with my MSX2. I don't know. I'm going to make another section for PlayStation 3. There you go, Grand Theft Auto 5. I can't imagine that anybody who's going to my site is looking for this because it's one of the most common games in the world, But I suppose if anyone wants to see what the Japanese dub is like and stuff like that, it might be somewhat interesting. I don't know. Games like this are a little too modern for my taste because that one's from my own collection. I just wanted to try it. What have I got here? Oh, this is kind of rare. This is a demo disc for PCFX game Galaxy Fräulein Yuna, and it looks like it might be broken because it doesn't have any back cover, but this is actually how they came. Archaic Sealed Heat. This is one of the largest Nintendo DS games, and it's pretty cool too. It really is. Is this the one that's a Mistwalker game? I think so. And just it's a very, very cool strategy game. It has a cool case with all this little holographic stuff here, and you can kind of figure it out even if you don't speak Japanese. But I really wish this one had gotten localized because I mean. It flopped hardcore here in Japan, but I think it might have had a chance had it gotten localized. I've rewrapped some of these. If I'm able to take this little plastic thing off without ruining it when I originally take it, I'll put it back on. But like once I've listed these games, I'll put all of them in a sleeve like this because that's, for one thing, that's how I know. Also, I'll usually put a little sticker right about here by the serial number, and that sticker means that it's been tested and it's not just a game that I haven't used yet, and it's how I can tell which ones I've done and which ones I don't. I usually take them off before I send the games out, but if you see a little red dot right there, I forgot to take it off, but just know that the game's been tested. Oh, sorry, did that one already. Super Robot Wars. These are very cool games. I think this is the first one that had like the Evangelion robots in. You can see that purple and green guy there. I'm not too much into giant robots, but I was a big Evangelion fan back in the day, so I find this one pretty fun. Theme Park, that's for 3DO. That's another game that, like, I don't know. I think. Oh yeah, I can recase this if anybody wants, but I hate it when they do this. Sometimes on the back cases, they put these on and you really can't take them off without like destroying the whole case. And do you see this case is thicker than the other cases? Let me compare it to like a normal sized game. A lot of these games are like thick cases. Here, let's compare it. Maybe you can't see that too well, but it's thicker, so it's hard for me. I have tons of replacement cases. I replace cases all the time if they're broken, but for these thicker cases, I don't have replacements, so I'd have to sacrifice another game. And for the most part, Theme Park is one of the games I would sacrifice rather than because it's not a particularly valuable game, and there's not a lot of interest in playing a Japanese version of Theme Park. It's a great game though, but you probably would want it in English. Here's it. Hold on. One of my first ever imports when I was living in the States. This is Theater Wars, and it's a simulation game where you're like a theater manager and you're putting together like a show. You choose what the talent's going to be. You do the lighting. You make a budget. You decide how much you're going to spend on the stuff. It seems like it would be impossible to play if you don't know Japanese. But at the time, I did not know Japanese. I bought it because it was on eBay, and it was I bought it. I think I got it with the Yu Yu Hakusho game, something like that. It was kind of like a bonus or whatever, but I wound up playing it a ton. It's so unique. It's so interesting. It's by a company called Hamlet. They did a few other simulation games, and they just disappeared off the face of the earth. But I love this one, but it's hard to recommend because, you know, you have to do a lot of trial and error to get through it if you don't know Japanese, and it is weird. It's like a weird game, but I like it. I like it a lot. Shockwave, yeah, just standard 3DO stuff. Try to move some of these away. Okay, there we go. Because everything's falling over now. Overdriving. Maybe you guys know this, as came out in the US as Need for Speed, and that's the first one. So that's a popular series. Okay, there's another theme park game, and this is Shin Theme Park, like New Theme Park, and I think this is like a Japanese like redesign of the original theme park, and it's, yeah, oh, maybe it is actually made by Electronic Arts, but anyway, I don't think this one came out on the Saturn in the US. Oh, this is a pretty cool like ball rolling type game. Oh wait, no, sorry, I'm thinking of a different one. Yeah, it's a puzzle game. They had this for PlayStation, Saturn, and there's a sequel as well called I don't remember. Actually, sorry. Oh my gosh, I should have come in better prepared for this video. All right, just moving stuff around. I have no idea if you guys are still watching, but if you are, thank you. Okay, this is a Sotsugyo graduation. So Sotsugyo means graduation. Final. It's a remake of the original PC one, and unlike a lot of the other versions, this one is rated 16 plus. So they must have left some of the content in. Well, yeah, I guess just from the screenshots on the back, but just a very classic early visual novel dating sim type thing. This game's nuts. This is done by Warp. You might know Warp. They did D and Enemy Zero and just a bunch of really like twisted games. It's a puzzle game. It actually came out in the US as Twisted. I think it was called Twisted. Or no. It was called Trip D. That was it. Tripped. Yeah, and it's a puzzle game, but it's also got all kinds of like weird mini games in it, and like fake out things. Like part of it looks like it's going to be an RPG, and then it's weird. You can totally play that if you don't know Japanese. And they released it in the States, but they took out a lot of the weirdness. I mean, it's still pretty weird, but that's really cool. It was made by Kenji Ino. He died way too soon. I got to meet him at a party once, actually, at Tokyo Game Show. He was doing DJing. I got his business card, and that was about 2-3 years before he passed away. But anyway, awesome game. Oh man, I'm not going to ever get through this if I don't stop telling stories. Puyo Puyo-san. I mean, I like all Puyo Puyo games, but this one's really interesting because it's got like a storyline that they've expanded the sun so that it's always summer, but it's causing like total destruction of the environment. Sounds familiar. Anyway, but really the whole thing is just like an excuse to get all the Puyo Puyo characters into swimwear. But it's great. I was playing this with my daughter last night. It's got regular Puyo Puyo action, but it's also got some interesting original modes. A cool story. Fully voice acted. Wipeout. I mean, you probably know this, and a lot of people are surprised to see that one of the Wipeout games was on the Sega Saturn, because it's a series that's really like synonymous with Sony these days. Well, I guess the team that made it is gone now too, but like for a long time it was a Sony series. But yeah, that's Wipeout. And the port was done by SoftBank, which is a very large company in Japan right now. And of course, Prognosis, whatever. They made Lemmings. Oh, Can Bunny Extra Deluxe. It's exactly what you think it is. Yeah, it's exactly what you think it is, and this really is like the stereotypical PCFX game. But I mean, a lot of people think all PCFX was porno games, and it didn't really even have that many. But it didn't have many games at all. So the fact that like 10% of them were these type of games really made it kind of stand out. Okay, there's a non-porn PCFX game, but it is the same kind of like anime style. This one's interesting. Kind of your typical RPG. I haven't really played it very much, but it's got like simulation game and strategy elements. Samurai Showdown, Samurai Spirits. Yeah. Don't even know what needs to be said about this. I mean, this is a classic. It's not my favorite Samurai Spirits games, but it is for a lot of people. I mean, it's a definite must-buy, regardless of which number is your favorite in the series. That one's worth having. Fatal Fury Special. This is the best of like the old style Fatal Fury games with like the big characters, and like I personally like it more when it's moved into like the King of Fighters 94 and on that style. But a lot of people really like these old ones, and of those old ones, this one's amazing. They have this one stage that's set in a cathedral, and they're like playing Dies Irae. It's just awesome. They show this little animation before of these birds flying through. It's a good game. This is like a Sakura Wars fan disc. What was the name of this again? Sakura Wars Hanagumi Tsushin. And it's just a fan disc. They show some stuff from the Sakura Wars live action, like stage shows and stuff. But what's interesting is if you have the MPEG card on your Saturn, this has MPEG coding right there. Only one game ever required the MPEG card to play, and that was the Lunar remake. But some games, if you look, have this, and then if you watch it, it has really, really good video quality. And like, Saturn in general had really juddery, small video for a lot of things. It got better as the games went on, but if you look at this, it really, really looks fantastic. The content might not be for everyone, but if you are a Sakura Wars fan, you can view those MPEG videos, and it's cool. Other than that, it's just a fan disc. Nondescript visual novel type game. I don't know. I gotta say, I played it long enough to see the opening animation and put in my name, and that's it. Sorry. Scramble Cobra, really nice, like arcade style game. If you actually had the 3DO flight stick, this game worked with it, and it was way better if you could play it that way. But just for the gamepad, it's fine. Oh yeah, see, there's flight stick right there. FS. Microcosm. Oh, there's the Cygnos. Oh man, that company, the Lemmings company again. TNE Soft did this, did the publishing in Japan, and it's a full motion video game, but it's also a shooter. You go around and there's like full motion backgrounds, but you know the actual your ship and the things you're shooting are just kind of regular things. Was this a Laserdisc game originally? I don't think so, but like it easily could have been. It's the type of thing you would have seen maybe on Laser Active. It's interesting. This is FIFA basically, except with J-League teams. I mean, it is basically the same as the FIFA game that was released on 3DO, and it was a fun game. I remember playing it when I had my 3DO back in the States. King of Fighters 95. This is the first one that allowed you to actually choose your own team. King of Fighters 94, you had to choose like USA team or the girls team, or no, maybe not the girls team, but like for some reason like Mai was in the England team and there was the USA team, and they had that like basketball player guy. I don't know, but this is the one where you could actually choose your own team. So that was, I guess, a step in the right direction. This is one of my favorites. Real Bout Fatal Fury. I mean, Fatal Fury is a good series in general. I mean, it led to everything, but Real Bout is one of my favorites. I just love, you're on these different planes and there's ring outs, and you could do all these things. Blue Mary is really cool in there. There's a interesting Easter egg with her if she gets a ring out. But they're just a fun game. I like the music too a lot. So, and what's really cool about these Neo Geo CD games is even if you don't have a Neo Geo CD, a lot of them you can just put in your CD player and you can listen to the Red Book audio. So you've basically got the game and a soundtrack. It's not every game, but a lot of them. Neo Geo Pocket Pachi slot game. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure these are fun if you like that, but this company right here. I mean, when SNK went out of business, not out of business, but went bankrupt, this company bailed them out, and they kept the Neo Geo Pocket alive, which I appreciate because they kept it alive long enough to get another Card Fighters game, which is awesome. But most of the stuff they put out were just their slot machines turned into a video game, and they're all pretty much the same. Like, if you have one, you have them all. I mean, this is nice. It's boxed. They're not particularly common, but they're not that expensive either because, I mean, they're pretty rare. Any Neo Geo Pocket game is kind of rare because of its, and these are put out near the end of it, so there's not many copies of each of these, but there's also not many people who are like actively seeking them, so the price is pretty cheap. I love this one. This is a Shanghai Mini. It's got a little sun fading on the side, which is unfortunate, but this game itself is amazing. And I love the snap lock cases. I love these. They're basically just Neo Geo cases. Just wonderful. But this is, it's just a pocket version of Shanghai, Mahjong Solitaire. It doesn't have a lot of frills, but it's in color. I don't know. I'm a sucker for these type of games anyway, and I just love using the click stick. It just makes it really easy to select your pieces, and I don't know. There's a 2-player mode that I've never tried, but looks really fun. I don't know. I have my own copy of this one that I'll never sell because it's actually one of my most played Neo Geo Pocket games. I don't have. There's no case for this one, but this is Fatal Fury First Contact, and these are wonderful because this is totally a Japanese card. But if your system's set to English, it's got all the English in it. It will be in English the whole way. The actual cart inside of it is exactly the same as the one that was released in the U.S. They just changed the label. That's it. Now, not all Neo Geo Pocket Color games are like that, but a lot of them are. This one too. This is Match of the Millennium in the U.S. And again, the full U.S. version is on here, and it's a good way. It is. I think it's a good way to save money on them because these used to be a lot cheaper, but actually these are going up in price now too. So I'm not sure how much money you're going to save going with the Japanese versions, but still, this is a great game. If you haven't played it, this is Capcom versus SNK Match of the Millennium. You got Capcom fighters, you got SNK people, and there's tons of mini games, like really cool mini games. There's even like a little dating sim type thing put inside where you can like flirt with your trainer. I don't know. This is one of the best games on the system, hands down. This is a very good like arcadey football game. If you've liked into the what's the series on Super Sidekicks or something like that. And this is a black and white game. It'll work fine on a color system, but it was designed before the color system came out. They did a remake of this game for the color system, but it was really quite expensive. So, okay, this is Pocket Tennis. Again, this is a black and white game, and I don't know if this one ever got remade to color. But again, they'll play on both types of systems, and it's fun. It's fun. It's just a little arcadey tennis game. It's a golf game. I mean, it's a T&E golf game. That's what it is. Okay, a lot of people say that this is the best King of Fighters game. I mean, it's definitely got one of the best rosters. I personally prefer 97, but I totally see why people like 98 because it is a dream match. It doesn't really follow the story at all, and characters who are I think dead in the story like come back for it. But it is a really cool game, and if you want like. If you're only going to buy one King of Fighters game, it's probably good to have because it has pretty much everyone in it. Oh, this is unique. This game was only released if you were a Club Nintendo member. You can see if you look on the back. Sorry, whoa. If you look on the back, you can see this little Club Nintendo logo right here. And you see there's no barcode. Because this one wasn't sold, you had to have saved up enough points for it, and you got it that way. It's a very interesting game. It's like Kamen Rider type things, but you talk into it. It's like Shabedu Night. It's interesting. It's a cool novelty, and it's something that is kind of hard to acquire just because it was a Club Nintendo exclusive. D. I was just talking about Kenji Ino earlier, and this is the one that really made him famous. This is a really weird, really dark game. This is the Japanese version. If you're familiar with the story, you can probably get through it without knowing any Japanese. But I don't know. You'd probably be better with the English version. But this one is way cooler. Like inside, there's this cool little fold-out poster and stuff. And I like the case. It's like a case and a half thickness. I don't know. At the price that it costs, it's probably worth having just to be a nice little thing on the shelf. But if you haven't played the game, probably get the English version first, play it through, and then you'd be able to do this one. Okay, Biohazard. This is Resident Evil. This is the first Resident Evil, and this is the uncensored one. They actually censored the Saturn one, and I think maybe even the PlayStation one in the US, because this one still has like the decapitations and all kinds of stuff. This is back when Nintendo. This is not Nintendo. Sorry, this is back when Japan in general was the place you got the uncut games. But if you look at a game like this, like even though this is a Zero Z game, Grand Theft Auto, they've taken out some stuff. This has actually been censored from the U.S. version. It's so weird how that switched around, because Japan used to be the place you got the fully uncensored stuff. This is Love Plus. This is a game put out by Konami, and it made the news because it's a simulation game where you date I don't know, schoolgirl or secretary or whatever. You have an in-game girlfriend you talk to and give things to, and it made the news because someone married their DS with this game in it. Like, someone became so obsessed with their virtual companion from this game that they decided to marry them. Don't do that. You can play the game, that's fine, but don't marry your DS. Just don't do that. This is a Suikoden game, and I think the last one as of now. I mean, it's a side story and stuff, but like, I mean, it's very, very cool. I have to say I wasn't as into it as I could have been, because I didn't want to play it too much, because I still haven't played the PlayStation 2 ones. I have them, but I'm still kind of working my way through that, so I didn't want to play too much. I don't know if the story is connected at all, but I still didn't want to spoil anything, so I didn't really play that much. This is a 2-disc PCFX love simulation thing. It is what it is. Sakura Wars 2. I can't believe I didn't have one of these listed already. This is just absolutely the necessary game for, you know, your whole dating sim plus like turn-based strategy. Love the music, love the characters. You can totally play this game if you've got one of the walkthrough guides. That's how I played them before I learned any Japanese. These are some of the first imports I had when I was really getting into imports, and you can completely play through these, but it takes a little effort, but it's worth it. These are fantastic games. I've got a couple boxed Neo Geo games. I talked about Samurai Spirits earlier. This one's in very nice condition. Good box, good case, everything like that. This one is a little sun faded. You can see it's kind of fading on the side, and there's a crack right here in the case, and that's kind of sad. But the game itself is pretty much mint. It looks really, really good. And if you could, I don't know, but you might be able to actually get replacement cases, because there's a little there's some kind of like stuff on the art. I don't know. It's still a little sun faded, but that's the thing. A lot of these carts are these days, because I mean they're just older, and they required, you know, just by its very nature with these large boxes, this large art, they were often on store shelves where they were just being exposed to a lot of sun. Anyway, that was way longer than I intended it to be. I thought it was going to be about 10 minutes long, but tell me if you thought that was interesting, if you're still listening to this point, of course. And if you are, thank you so much. But anyway, this is stuff that's going to be coming up in the next, however long it takes me to list these items. If there's anything that you saw in here that you're particularly interested in, you'd like to know some more information, or you'd like me to move it up to the queue because it's something you are interested in purchasing, let me know, and I'll work with you on that. Anyway, thank you very much. This is Japan Retro Direct signing off.